Have you ever had a dream that felt so vivid, so strange, that you woke up wondering if it was trying to tell you something? A dream where the symbols lingered long after you opened your eyes, like a shadow following you through the day. Maybe you've dreamt of falling, of flying, of being chased, or of finding yourself standing in a place you've never been before, but somehow felt deeply familiar. Most people dismiss dreams as random noise of the sleeping brain, just fragments of memories stitched together by the subconscious. But Carl Jung saw something far more profound. He believed that dreams are not meaningless illusions, but living messages sent from the hidden depths of the psyche to who we are, what we fear, and what we are called to become. Jung once wrote, "The dream is a little hidden door in the innermost and most secret recesses of the soul." To him, dreams were not simply puzzles to be solved, but bridges connecting the conscious mind we walk with daily to the vast unconscious that holds both our wounds and our wisdom. And here's the part that makes his view so different, so powerful. Jung believed dreams do not just reflect the past, they point us toward the future, toward potential paths of growth and transformation. Think about that. Every night when you sleep, your mind is not only processing memories, it's reaching forward, sketching out images of what your life could become. That nightmare you keep having about being lost in a maze, that recurring dream of standing at the edge of the ocean. Jung would say, listen closely. Your unconscious is speaking. Now, why does this matter so much for us today? We live in a time when distraction is endless. Phones, notifications, news cycles, our waking minds are constantly bombarded. We rarely stop to reflect, to ask what's happening beneath the surface. Yet, while we sleep, the psyche still speaks. It tells us the truths we've ignored. It confronts us with the parts of ourselves we try to avoid. Dreams are democratic in that way. You don't need to be rich, powerful, or educated to receive them. Everyone dreams, every night, whether you remember it or not. Your unconscious offers you a gift, images shaped by archetypes, symbols older than language itself. But here's the catch. If you don't pay attention, those messages dissolve with the morning light, and with them, you lose the chance to understand what your soul is trying to say. This is why Jung's approach to dream analysis still feels radical today. He wasn't interested in dream dictionaries that tell you if you dream of water, it means X, or if you see a snake, it means Y. No, Jung taught that the meaning of a dream is personal. It emerges from your own life, your own psyche, your own journey. A snake in your dream might mean danger, or it might mean healing. Water might symbolize fear, or it might symbolize rebirth. The symbols shift depending on who you are, where you are in life, and what your unconscious is trying to balance. For Jung, the dream was a conversation, a dialogue between the conscious and the unconscious, a way for the deeper parts of you to whisper truths you can't yet face directly in the daylight. And maybe that's why so many of us feel haunted by certain dreams. Because some part of us knows, this isn't random. This is important. This is me trying to speak to myself. So in this video, we are going to enter Jung's world of dream analysis. We'll explore how he believed dreams are not riddles to decode, but symbols to engage with. We'll see why recurring dreams are often signals of unresolved conflict, why nightmares are not curses but opportunities, and why paying attention to the language of dreams can literally transform the way you live your waking life. If you've ever woken up in the middle of the night, shaken by a dream that felt more real than reality, this is for you. If you've ever wondered why you dream of the same place, the same person, the same strange symbol again and again, this is for you. And if you've ever suspected that your dreams are guiding you, nudging you toward the person you're meant to become, this is exactly where you need to be. Because to Jung, dreams are not accidents, they are maps. And if you learn how to read them, they can point the way toward your deepest transformation. Carl Jung's approach to dreams begins with a radical assumption. The psyche is not trying to confuse you, it's trying to help you. The images may be strange, even disturbing, but behind every dream lies a purpose. For Jung, that purpose was growth, unlike Freud, who often reduced dreams to expressions of repressed desire. Jung saw them as multi-layered, symbolic, and alive. A dream might point to something hidden in your personal life, but it also taps into archetypes, those universal patterns that all humans share. This is why people across cultures dream of flying, falling, drowning, or being pursued. These aren't random, they're motifs that stretch back into the collective unconscious. So how do we begin to work with a dream in the Jungian way? First, Jung insisted we take the dream seriously. No dream is too small or too trivial. Even the fragment you barely recall can carry meaning. To ignore a dream, he said, is to ignore the psyche itself. Second, we must record the dream quickly. Jung encouraged keeping a dream journal by the bed, so the images can be captured before they vanish. Memory of dreams is like smoke, it fades with the first distraction of the morning. By writing them down, you preserve the symbols for later reflection. Third, we approach the dream symbolically, not literally. If you dream of dying, it rarely means physical death. More often, it signals the end of a phase in life, the death of an old identity, or the possibility of rebirth. If you dream of a house, Jung would ask, what does this house represent for you? Is it your body, your mind, your family? Which rooms are open, which are locked? The point is not to look up a fixed meaning in a book, but to ask what the symbol is saying to you, right now, in the context of your own journey. One of Jung's key methods was amplification. This meant expanding the symbol by exploring how it appears in myths, religions, fairy tales, and cultural stories. For example, if you dream of a snake, you might consider how snakes appear in the Bible. In ancient Greek healing cults, in Eastern symbolism of Kundalini energy. By amplifying, you discover that your personal snake may carry echoes of a universal archetype. But Jung warned, amplification is not about finding the answer. It's about opening the symbol, letting it breathe, and discovering how it resonates with your life. Another method is active imagination. Here, you don't just analyze the dream, you engage with it. You re-enter the dream world consciously, almost like guided visualization, and interact with the figures or symbols you encountered. If you dreamt of an old man blocking your path, in active imagination you would sit with him, ask him questions, and listen to what he has to say. Jung believed these figures represent autonomous parts of the psyche, and that dialogue with them can bring integration and healing. Perhaps the most important principle: every figure in the dream can represent a part of you. The threatening stranger may be your shadow. The wise old woman may be your inner guide. The child may be your innocence waiting to be reborn. By recognizing this, you stop treating dreams as external puzzles and start treating them as inner conversations. Why is this so transformative? Because our waking ego tends to see only what it wants to see. We identify with our job, our social mask, our conscious goals. But dreams break through that mask. They remind us of what we've neglected: our emotions, our creativity, our fears, our unlived potentials. For example, imagine a woman who keeps dreaming she is lost in a forest. At first, she dismisses it as random. But in Jungian analysis, she begins to ask, what is the forest? For her, it might symbolize the unknown future, the parts of life she avoids. Maybe she's at a crossroads, afraid to leave a safe but unfulfilling job. The dream is saying, you are lost, but the forest also holds growth, adventure, possibility. Or consider a man who dreams of a broken bridge. He feels stuck on one side of a river. Jung would say, the dream reflects a psychic split perhaps between his rational mind and his emotional life. The broken bridge calls him to rebuild the connection, to find a way to integrate what he has kept apart. This is why Jung often said, the dream is a spontaneous self-portrait, in symbolic form, of the actual situation in the unconscious. Think about that. Every night, your unconscious paints a picture of your inner life, not as a lecture, but as an image. And if you learn to read those images, you gain access to wisdom you can't reach by logic alone. Now, some might ask, isn't this too subjective? If everyone interprets their own symbols, can't we just make them mean whatever we want? Jung's answer was subtle. He believed the psyche has its own intelligence. If your interpretation is true, it will bring a sense of resonance, relief, or new insight. If it's false, it will feel flat, forced, or irrelevant. The psyche knows when it has been understood. Dream analysis, then, is not a rigid science, but an art of listening. Listening to the language of symbols, to the whispers of the unconscious, to the deeper self that is always seeking balance and wholeness. For Jung, ignoring your dreams is like ignoring half of your life, because the psyche doesn't sleep. Even when you close your eyes, the inner world is alive, sending signals, weaving stories, sketching maps of your transformation. And the more you learn to listen, the more those dreams stop being random confusion and start becoming guides. So how can you begin to apply Jung's approach to your own life? How can you take those strange fragments of your nightly dreams and turn them into guides for your waking journey? Jung's answer was not to rely on experts or dictionaries, but to cultivate a direct relationship with your dreams. Here are some practical ways you can start. The very first step is simple but powerful. Write them down. Keep a notebook or even a voice recorder by your bed. The moment you wake up, even before you check your phone or move around, capture whatever you remember. It might be just one image: a bird flying, a door closing, a voice calling your name. Or it might be a full story with dialogue and details. Don't judge whether it's important or not. Don't edit, just record. The act of writing itself signals to your psyche that you are paying attention. Over time, you'll notice that your recall improves, and the dreams become more vivid. It's as if the unconscious, realizing you are listening, begins to speak louder. Look back over your journal after a few weeks. Do certain images keep appearing? A forest, an animal, a childhood home. These recurring symbols are significant. Jung would say they represent unresolved tensions or neglected parts of your psyche. For example, if water appears again and again, ask yourself, what is my relationship to emotion, to flow, to surrender? If I'm drowning, am I overwhelmed? If I'm floating, am I learning to trust? The key is not to force a meaning, but to explore. Symbols are multi-layered. They invite reflection rather than quick answers. Whenever a person appears in your dream, whether it's a loved one, a stranger, or even a celebrity, Jung would encourage you to ask, what part of me might this person represent? The angry boss might symbolize your own inner critic. The child might be your innocence or vulnerability. The thief might be a neglected desire you've tried to suppress. This doesn't mean dreams never involve real external concerns, but it shifts the focus inward. Instead of blaming the outside world, you begin to see the cast of your dream as voices within your own psyche. Take one symbol and expand it. Let's say you dreamed of a snake. Explore what snakes mean across cultures: danger, temptation, healing, transformation. Then ask, which of these resonates with my life right now? Maybe you are going through a difficult change. The snake may not be threatening you, it may be shedding its skin, showing you the possibility of renewal. By connecting your personal dream to collective archetypes, you tap into a deeper layer of meaning. You realize you are not just an isolated individual. Your soul speaks in the language of humanity's oldest stories. Choose a powerful dream image and, in waking life, re-enter it with your imagination. Close your eyes, visualize the scene, and let it unfold. Talk to the figure in your dream. Ask the wise old man what he wants to teach you. Ask the monster why it chases you. Listen to what emerges. This may sound unusual, but Jung found it transformative. Active imagination turns your dream into a dialogue rather than a mystery. You stop being a passive observer and become a participant in your own inner world. Sometimes the meaning of a dream lies not in its symbols, but in the emotions it leaves behind. Did you wake up with fear, relief, longing, joy? That emotional residue is a direct message. If you wake with dread, what in your waking life mirrors that? If you wake with excitement, what possibility is calling to you? Dreams bypass logic and speak in feelings. Respect those feelings, they may tell you what your conscious mind avoids. While Jung encouraged personal interpretation, he also valued dialogue. Talking about your dream with a trusted friend, therapist, or even a group can reveal angles you might miss. Others can mirror back insights that resonate. Just remember, their interpretation is not final. The ultimate authority is your own inner resonance. Now, let's make this concrete. Imagine you dream that you are walking through a house. In one room, the lights are bright and familiar, but there is a locked door you cannot open. You wake unsettled. Instead of saying, "That was random," apply Jung's method. Ask, "What is a house to me?" Perhaps it represents my life, my psyche. Notice the locked door. What in my life feels inaccessible? What potential have I shut away? Amplify. In myths, locked doors often symbolize secrets, hidden treasures, or forbidden knowledge. Emotion. I felt anxious, but curious. Maybe my unconscious is nudging me to face what I've avoided. Through this process, the dream becomes more than a riddle. It becomes guidance. Maybe it's time to confront something I've kept locked away. Why does this matter for your everyday life? Because by engaging your dreams, you reclaim a part of yourself. You begin to see that life is not just about external events, but about the inner journey unfolding every night in your sleep. Jung believed that by honoring our dreams, we heal the split between conscious and unconscious. We become more whole, and in a world that often leaves us fragmented, disconnected, and distracted, that wholeness is not a luxury, it's a necessity. So tonight, when you go to bed, consider this. Your unconscious is waiting. It has stories to tell, warnings to give, treasures to reveal. The only question is, will you listen? When we begin to listen to our dreams in the Jungian way, something profound happens. Life starts to shift. The dream world and the waking world are no longer separate. They begin to speak to each other, and in that dialogue we find transformation. Jung believed that dreams act like mirrors. They reflect not only what we consciously know, but what we avoid, repress, or ignore. The power of engaging with dreams is that they reveal blind spots, those hidden corners of the psyche, where truth waits in silence. Take the recurring nightmare. Most of us dread them, dismiss them as signs of stress or anxiety. But Jung taught that the nightmare is not an enemy, it's an urgent message. The more frightening the dream, the more significant its meaning. Imagine someone who dreams night after night of being chased. In waking life, they might say, "I'm fine, everything's under control." But the dream says otherwise. No, you are running. You are avoiding. Something inside you wants to be faced. When that dreamer finally pauses to ask, "What am I running from?" they may uncover an old trauma, a buried fear, or even an unlived potential. The nightmare becomes a catalyst for healing. For Jung, the ultimate purpose of dream work was not just problem solving, but individuation, the lifelong process of becoming whole. Each dream, no matter how small, contributes to this journey. One dream shows you your shadow. Another reconnects you with the child within. Another hints at your future self, the person you might become if you have the courage to change. Step by step, image by image, your unconscious guides you toward balance between reason and emotion, light and dark, masculine and feminine. Dreams don't just tell you who you are. They point toward who you are meant to be. One of Jung's deepest insights is that healing does not come from rejecting the unwanted parts of ourselves, but from integrating them. Dreams are the language of integration, that monster in your nightmare. Once confronted, it may reveal itself as a guardian, a source of energy you've repressed, that stranger you fear. They may represent qualities you need to reclaim. In this way, dream work is not about erasing fear, but about transforming it. What once terrified you becomes part of your strength. The very symbols that haunted you begin to nourish you. The transformation is not abstract. People who engage with their dreams often report practical changes. Greater self-awareness. You begin to catch yourself repeating patterns because you've already seen them play out in dream form. Improved relationships by recognizing projections in dreams. You see how much of what you attribute to others actually belongs to you. This makes you less reactive, more compassionate. Creative inspiration. Many artists, writers, and inventors have drawn from dreams. Jung himself created art inspired by dream imagery. By honoring dreams, you tap into a wellspring of creativity, emotional healing. Confronting shadow material in dreams reduces the intensity of anxiety, anger, or grief in waking life. You feel lighter, freer. A sense of guidance. Life feels less random when you recognize synchronicities between dream images and waking events. You begin to feel accompanied, guided by an inner wisdom. Consider someone in midlife who feels stuck, burned out at work, distant in relationships, disconnected from meaning. They begin journaling their dreams. At first, they record fragments, empty streets, silent rooms. Then a recurring image appears. A locked chest in the attic of their childhood home. At first, it seems bizarre. But by applying Jung's method, they see the chest as a symbol of forgotten potential. In active imagination, they open the chest and find inside an instrument they once loved but abandoned. The dream nudges them. Return to creativity. Reclaim joy. In waking life, they pick up that instrument again. Slowly, the music becomes not just a hobby, but a form of therapy. The locked chest in the dream translates into an unlocked part of the soul, and life begins to feel alive again. This is the true takeaway. Dreams are not random noise. They are not distractions from real life. They are part of real life. They are the psyche's way of guiding us toward wholeness. Jung believes that when we ignore dreams, we cut ourselves off from half our being. But when we listen, when we integrate, we experience what he called the self, the deeper center of personality, the union of conscious and unconscious. In that union lies healing, creativity, balance, and meaning. So the next time you dream, whether it's beautiful, terrifying, or just puzzling, remember, this is not nonsense. This is your soul speaking. This is your future calling. This is the hidden alchemy of the mind, turning pain into wisdom, fear into courage, fragments into wholeness. And if you choose to listen, to write, to reflect, to engage, you will discover that your dreams are not just stories you forget at dawn. They are maps. And if you follow them, they can lead you into the deepest transformation of your life. As we come to the end of this journey into Jung's world of dreams, I want you to pause for a moment. Think back to the last dream you can remember. Maybe it was strange. Maybe it was frightening. Maybe it was so ordinary you dismissed it before breakfast. Now imagine, what if that dream wasn't meaningless? What if it was your unconscious whispering, "Here, look here, pay attention. This is where you are. This is what you need." Carl Jung believed that if we ignore these whispers, they turn into shouts manifesting as anxiety, depression, emptiness, or destructive patterns. But if we listen, if we lean into the images and the feelings, they become guides. They show us not only who we are, but who we might become. And isn't that what so many of us long for? Not just to survive the daily grind, not just to chase endless distractions, but to grow, to transform, to become whole. So tonight, when you lay your head on the pillow, I invite you to do something simple. Make space. Put a notebook by your bed. Tell yourself, "I will remember." And when you wake, write down whatever lingers. It may not make sense at first. That's okay. Keep listening. Over time, you'll begin to notice patterns, themes, archetypes, weaving themselves into your life story. You'll discover that dreams don't just reflect, they anticipate. They point to the path of individuation, of integration, of becoming fully yourself. This is not a quick fix. It is a lifelong dialogue with the unconscious. But if you commit to it, even gently, you will find that life begins to feel richer, deeper, more meaningful. The random becomes symbolic. The ordinary becomes sacred. Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Think about that. How much of what you call bad luck, chance, or even destiny is really your unconscious trying to get your attention? How much freedom would you gain if you could begin to see those patterns clearly and choose differently? Dreams are one of the most direct pathways to making the unconscious conscious. They hand you the keys. All you have to do is open the door. So the next time a dream unsettles you, don't push it away. Sit with it, ask it questions, let it unfold. Because hidden inside that dream may be the very piece of wisdom you've been searching for in waking life. Your psyche is not against you. It is for you. Even when it confronts you with monsters, it is only so you might discover your courage. Even when it leads you into darkness, It is only so you might find the light that is already within you. Dreams are not distractions. They are invitations. And if you accept, they can change everything.